Hello, everyone. We will have this presentation on English, just because of Han Gerrits. Let me welcome you.
Thank you.
First of all, let me welcome everybody. Let me welcome in the name of KPMG, as we are one of the main sponsors of Brain Bar Budapest, and this is a Brain Bar side event, but you all know this. And you all have a vision on our 2030 mobility vision, what we have created together with Ford Motor Company and also with the British government. So this is our vision.
It's now widely accepted that by 2030, mobility, especially in large urban areas, will be dramatically different from today. With transport seamlessly connecting people's lives, consumers will be able to get from A to B in a way which is cheaper, cleaner, safer. And our journeys will change to become productive and entertaining extensions of our day-to-day routines. With segments of the population, such as the young and the elderly, set to benefit from wider access. Let's have a look at just how the future might look. Instead of paying separately for fuel, tickets and travel cards, consumers will be able to buy integrated mobility contracts from new and different service providers. Not only will these providers benefit from a much wider sales opportunity, but the experience for the consumer will be easier and more joined up. Indeed, the concept of personally owning a vehicle and having to have a driving license to operate one may become redundant too. So that soon, the way a car functions will be unrecognizable. Electric, powered, autonomous, driverless, shared. A fully functioning digital environment.
Hi, Henry.
Hi, Katie. Ready for school?
A place of work. And a place to play. And with new entrants developing technology such as kinetic energy road harvesting, businesses are set to gain further from new revenue opportunities. New and previously unthinkable collaborations in and between sectors, not just how a car looks, but how it functions. And even when your car does malfunction, it will no longer need breakdown recovery to get it back on the road. The way we use public mobility will change too. Workspace. Whether passengers want to prepare for that 9 o'clock meeting, a bit of me time, or simply want filtered clean air. And when our cars are connected seamlessly to our digital selves, they'll be able to help coordinate our day-to-day lives and keep us fit and healthy too.
Morning, Henry.
Straight to golf, George.
Yes, please. Though I need to speak to the GP on the way. Holoport her in, will you?
Hello, George.
Hi, Alice. All fit and healthy, I assume?
I'm afraid not, George. Your blood pressure is above 140.
So no golf?
No, you'll just need to pick up your meds from the pharmacist beforehand.
And with the car able to place orders and send instructions, customers can pick up their prescriptions and the rest of their shopping seamlessly. Of course, this is just one version of the future. What is certain is that we are at the beginning of a truly transformational journey. We will see shifts in traditional business models. We expect to see two very different business archetypes existing side by side. So-called metalsmiths will continue to follow the current model of manufacturing ever more sophisticated hardware, the cars themselves. Meanwhile, an all-new archetype, the Gridmaster, will arise. The successful Gridmaster is not only a vehicle manufacturer, they also provide the platform for a variety of customer services. This means as well as seamless travel from A to B, they can offer consumer-centric products and services by harvesting and using data at the customer interface. While each archetype will compete against a very different group of players, both will have an important role to play. By 2030, a new mobility services segment worth well over $1 trillion will emerge from products and services related to autonomy, mobility, and connectivity. We believe that future success will only come through an unprecedented degree of collaboration and through design and thinking across government and business. The future is exciting. The details are yet to be worked out. And collectively, we can build our model of mobility 2030. To find out more, speak with one of KPMG's strategic advisors.
So this is our vision. We will take you a little bit further, or we will try at least. So we will jump into 2050. But then, since we are in 2017, first we have to introduce ourselves, I guess. Han?
Well, I'm Han Gerrits, partner in KPMG Netherlands and professor at the University in Amsterdam, teaching digital innovation and entrepreneurship. And within KPMG, I have a global role in Innovation Factory software.
Myself is Zsolt Winkler, and as you can read it out, it's TMT, which stands for Telco, Media and Technology, and also leading the innovation activities here. Let's jump into that, if we can. Does anybody recognize what this is? Oh, thank you very much. So it's a neuron. Why it's a neuron? In the video, you have seen so many AI activities, right? That the AI will help you this and that, will tell you that like your blood pressure is so high, so you cannot go golfing. AI will tell you that like you need a car. AI will pick up or tell to the car that pick up your package or whatsoever. Why it's a neuron here? In our brain, there is in between 100 million and 100 billion neurons, which are communicating back and forth to each other. Lots of information going in while I'm speaking, lots of information, I hope at least, that they are communicating with each other, they are moving my hands and whatsoever. So information flows in, neuron talks to each other. And when we are talking about AI, we want to reach to a humanoid level. And we are all, who is threatened of AI? Or who is threatened of the robots? I will try to make it as interactive as it possible, so please. So are we threatened of the robots of the world, or how we approach? Not yet? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so one of the big themes that we heard about was augmentation. And there was a guy who talked about, you know, his grandma got a washing machine, and that kind of took away jobs that she didn't want to do and gave her time to go out and work and earn money for their family. Yep. So actually for me, that's where the potential is. It's augmenting the tasks that don't add so much value and allow people to kind of evolve and learn and develop.
I hope that this will be the real answer. But like right now where we are with this AI thing is that like once we will be able, so where we are going to be able to create a humanoid, once we will be able to replicate our brain, how our brain works. Right now we are in the stage where we can almost there, I think in 5 years we will be there when we replicate a small monkey. A small monkey has not so many neurons, I think, as we do. But from there on, there will be an exponential growth in this team, and then we will reach to the level when we replicate ourselves in this story. I'm not sure whether we can replicate ourselves. I hope. Then we can replicate Han, for example.
Well, I hope not. And I definitely hope that they can't replicate you.
Okay. Because of my PPT capabilities, right?
Go ahead. Next slide.
Well, I mean, yeah. Let's talk about those topics here.
Okay. Yeah. So there's a lot of new technologies coming up that shape the future, and I just want to introduce some of them. Well, probably you know, Internet of Things, so everything gets connected, everything gets measured, which leads to new ways to manage processes, new ways, new business models. Robots are coming, and this animated GIF that you see here was introduced yesterday by Google. It's AI that you can use natural language, and it will give you data. It will analyze what you ask. So you could say, give me the sales figures or the expected sales for next Tuesday, and it will go into your data and it will bring back the data that you're looking for. Another thing is on the learning part. Of course, you probably have heard of Watson, the IBM AI machine. They made it. What they did is they made it read all kind of books on recipe books and books on tastes and differences in culture in eating. And then Watson designed its own recipes, new recipes. So it learned from all this cultural heritage to build new recipes. And the recipes in many cases at the first hand looked very strange combination of ingredients. And what they did is what IBM did is they invited Michelin starred chefs to cook those recipes, and a lot of them turned out to be really great recipes. So really by not being constrained by culture, your thinking, it delivers new, so it really shows that this software can learn. And
how was the taste?
it was good. So we had
tried it.
Yes, at KPMG in the Netherlands, we had a dinner with recipes that were created by Chef Watson. That was really good, but strange, like chocolate on on meat, and really strange combinations, but really nice.
Yeah, already there is a movie what you can watch, which has been created by an AI. Don't watch it. I mean, watch it because it's created by an AI, but don't watch it as sit on the couch and you want to watch a movie at the night. So it's not that type of movie, but it's still coming. So the question is that, are we writing our stories in the future, or will be AIs writing our stories in the future? Because we are all storytellers, as Han, as myself here, we are trying. But since we are writing stories, movies that we watch, we believe, or replicate those movies, Back to the Future or anything else, is the question to me is that whether do we feel capable to doing it or not? Because already it's doing it. Google's AI replicating itself, so it can create an AI. It was, again, like a 2-week news or something like that. Well, Internet of Things we will touch back later, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe because we see these things coming up now, and what is good to understand is that this is still becoming faster and faster and faster. There's a great book called The Second Machine Age of McAfee and Brynjolfsson, two researchers that I really love their work. And what they say basically is we ain't seen nothing yet. And that's due to the fact that IT, computing technology, is the power thereof is like doubling every 2 years on average. It's Moore's law, you see it on the left side. But it's not only for computing power, it's for data storage, it's for bandwidth, it's doubling every 2 years, which people tend to underestimate. Because it means that in 2 years' time it will be twice as fast, but in 4 years' time it will be 4 times as fast. That's still what we can understand. Then 6 years is 8 times as fast, 8 years is 16 times as fast, 10 years is 32 times as fast, etc. So it really explodes, and that's what's happening. So what they say basically is that regarding the power of technology, we ain't seen nothing yet. Because if you look back, we could think, we've had such a great experience last 20 years with mobile, internet, and whatever. You ain't seen nothing yet. It's still there to come. And what we do see, for example, is if you look at the companies at the Standard & Poor's 500, so company lifetime, you see that companies, the expected lifetime of companies is decreasing because of these technological influences. So new technologies, they kill companies. Like, before the 1960s, there were some companies stayed for 100 years, but now it's getting down and down and down until maybe 10, 15 years. And the expectation is that from the current companies on the S&P, there will only be 25% left in 2030. So that's due to these technological advances. And
we don't know how much we are relying on these type of technologies, not to mention the utilities. Yesterday on the panel who was there, I'm sorry about my repeating myself, but there were an electricity outage yesterday morning in my apartment. And I wake up and then I ask my Alexa, they're like, okay, tell me the morning news. Well, this was the same kind of voice that I hear, so there was no answer. So then I tried okay, so I find it out that I need my morning coffee, which I can drink, obviously, because there was no electricity. And since there was no electricity, there was no internet, blah, 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 and so on. So do we really think on how much do we rely on these utilities right now? And then what Han was just saying on the previous side, they're we ain't seen nothing yet. If we think about it, they're how much more electricity we need in the future, because autonomous driving is so nice, electric cars is so nice, we love them. or especially I do. But how much energy do we need? How does we transfer those kind of companies that are today, basically, we know them as oil companies? What is their future? That's the question. They have to find it out. And our job is to take care of them and then make sure that they still in the 60s by the lifetime of the company. But this is true. I mean, one of my favorite examples is Kodak and Instagram. What is the common in the two of these? They both made pictures. Pictures that you can show, the pictures that created on events whatsoever. Kodak was there for 150 years, right? Hundreds and thousands of people was working there. Now it's basically nothing. Or I don't know if they still existing or not.
And they invented digital photography.
They invented digital photography. And Instagram, after 2 years, 12 people, they bought by Facebook. That's it. So they somehow, after 2 years, they disappeared or not. The brand is still existing, but it's part of Facebook, right? So another example is that Professor Schmidhuber invented long short-term memory. If I say this, nobody knows it. But when you talk to your Alexa or when you talk to your Siri, it's basically the same open source story that they build on. So it was 20 years ago when they found it, and the adaptation was 20 years that we having it in our everyday life. Okay. Should I? Oh, we will wait for. Yeah, it's 7 o'clock. Go ahead. I have time to speak in between. What is 5 seconds? 6? 6. They will do it twice, I think. Okay, good. So what is the good news for startups or greenfield companies? Let's talk about them instead of startups, but we can talk about startups. So what's good about them? They start here. What's bad for the enterprises? They are somewhere here. But everybody is trying, right? Enterprises has clients, startups doesn't have clients, so they are fighting for the same cake. They can help each other, yeah, but we will talk about later on. So in our view, we want to take enterprises throughout this journey. Why we want to take them? Because with digitalization is the first step. You're going to have some human power that you can reallocate for innovation processes or find your future. And then, when you go through industrialization, then you can reach into the platformization level where you can find out your new services. You might not be the same enterprise as were you, like Mall will transfer itself probably somewhere else. The brand will be probably the same, but however, what they do is totally different. So for example, when Uber enters into the market, they not start here, right? So they don't hire cab drivers, they don't buy a taxi company, they start right here. And they build a platform where they can do whatever they want. Han, anything?
Oh, that's good. I like that.
Okay.
Next slide. So we built kind of a vision of what does that mean for the 21st century enterprise, which areas are very important for that. Because, of course, as KPMG, we have to help our clients to become part of the future. We see 4 different, very important areas. Customer engagement. Of course, a lot of the digital technologies is about really connecting with customers and keeping in touch with them. It means that we have to look at the resources. Well, of course, in the US, maybe since last night, a bit less. If you look at the statement of
But
Trump,
it will happen in France, though. That's what we hear
but
today.
we have a great leader in France, luckily. That made it really change. So we have to look at that. And the companies in the US, by the way, they already said that they just will continue by minimizing their CO2 footprint. Everything will be a service. It won't be a product anymore, but it will be a service. And the workforce of the future will be different. Something that we had a discussion on yesterday at Brain Bar Budapest too.
Yeah, and why it's important, I think, in everything as a service is that, like, when you think about a new service or a new type of role in your company, then you will try to ask the big guys. So if you are an enterprise, you might ask Microsoft or SAPs of the world to bring me new services and let's do it like an ERP or whatsoever. But what startups do is that they look around and they see that like, okay, my problem is solved. So here is a company I can buy it for $2 a month per user. And that's it. Now I have the service. I don't want to own that. And basically, this is how you go through this process. You don't want to build everything again. You don't want to reinvent the wheel. And you want to move fast enough to reach those levels where you can really work together with the startups. Because the problem with enterprises is that, like they are, as we saw it in the previous slide, is that they, in the age where they don't digitalize themselves, it's really hard to connect with startups. It's really hard to integrate them. But they like what they are doing, so they want to work together. But once they are in the position, so they sit down, the startup is happy. Well, here's a big enterprise want to work with me. Okay, good, so I will make shitload of money. The problem is that they don't. Why? Because they are too slow. So 6 months is can be spent on integrating with the startup, putting them in the billing system whatsoever. So the process is, it takes too much time. After 6 months, the startup is waiting for the enterprise to finally enter into the market with my solution, but then there will be no solution. The solution might be there, but the startup will not be there, because 6 months, they die. They don't have money for that. So that's a problem. What else? Yeah, I think.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I think so.
Next one is all yours.
Is it all your, okay, and the next one
No way.
after too. When we look at how can we help companies to become more innovative, we have a number of areas that we look at. It's anticipating disruption, so looking at startups that might disrupt your business model or change the way or change the base of competition. Of course, every company would like to grow, still keep growing by using innovation to get better products, new products, implement new technology, to create new value and create new services, and being more efficient. And one of the ways that we do that is by having programs with our clients where we try to get all people into an innovation effort, because in the end, the entire company has to become more innovative. It's not like the boss will be more innovative and then just lets it do the people, because then it doesn't work. If you really want to create a more innovative company, you should make sure that the entire culture gets more innovative and that everybody gets involved, from the top to the bottom. Every employee should be part of that innovation program. Well, maybe that would mean that, well, that's what my company does, or what my service is. It's about Innovation Factory, which is basically a crowdsourcing environment that we use to really get all people in an organization involved in innovation and create a more innovative culture in organizations.
And outside as well, right?
Sorry?
And outside as well.
And outside as well. So you could also invite customers or suppliers to jointly together innovate. Because what we see is that innovation is less and less done within organizations, but more and more needs what we call an innovation ecosystem, where you work together with other companies to create new innovations. And especially in a digital space, if it's networked, if it's online, there's a lot of companies that all have their own kind of service where they're very good at, and you knit them together to build your own service. So it doesn't make sense to do it all yourself, but it's really reaching out, building the innovation ecosystem, and together build that new company.
Yeah, and why it's important, I mean, without going into the process, is that we have talked about the startup's integration into the company. When an enterprise starts to work on an idea challenge and invite outside people as startups, they can start working on such a platform like this together. Meaning, when they get into the process, that everybody can feel that what is the problem, how we should integrate, everybody can communicate, everybody sees who is involved, and it might fasten up the process, we hope, and this is what we've seen in our experiences, that it's really fastens up the process. Actually, in the Netherlands, there is a company who is used it, right? 20 startups that are involved.
Yes. That will be the case later on, but maybe I'll do that later. So
okay.
I think next slide's for you also.
Oh yeah. Well, this is a nice slide, right? so we can skip it. No, basically what we're trying to tell here is the journey of the customer of ours, client journey. That's why we call it. And there is like, when you try to build a gap, the how to be innovative, the first you have to assume what they have at the moment, right? So kind of an as-is analysis or deep into the trends. That's where we came into the picture, and we help them. Like, we are ready with the answers that what is the disruption in your segment, what is the disruptive players in your sector. These are why we have those insight centers where we invite our clients and help them go through this process so much faster than they can do it, because they might not even seeing it. I was 16 years with Magyar Telekom, so I can tell you that from inside, you might not see anything, what's going on around you, because you are too big to see it. And that's why it really helps when you move out the client from the comfort zone, put it into a different atmosphere, and start working on the, like, what are the trends, what are the insights that we've seen, and then we can easily move to the bridge. Okay, that is the next gap, building the business case. How you can really involve a startup, how you can involve other colleagues, how you can change the culture or the mindset within the company, how you can co-create with other departments in your company. And this is basically when, how much, whatsoever you go through. And then you do the pilot challenge, and then finally, of course, there is the new product with our help. So that's it.
Yep.
We will have an example on that one. I'm serious.
Good. So that's the journey that the client goes through. And so there's different kind of journeys, basically. There's journeys internally, finding out what is the future. But maybe another one that Zsolt was already talking about is this one, where Akzo Nobel, the Dutch chemical company, wanted to search for startups across the globe, and they used our platform to do that. So we organized the entire program, from getting out, online communications, making sure that startups signed up. And well, yesterday, today, and tomorrow, there's a big event. You see it here. So if I wouldn't have been here, I would have been on stage somewhere there.
But nobody's there, right?
No, but
it's a big event, though.
Zsolt invited me here. I couldn't resist coming here, of course. But to give you some idea about what that meant for Akzo Nobel, they were aiming to find about 10 startups to participate in this event. There's now 20 startups participating. They were aiming to find 50. We found 250 startups relevant for the future of chemistry. This is about changing chemistry from oil-based to natural resources-based. They reached out across the globe, and now there's like 20 startups in Deventer, which is a small city in the Netherlands, on this event. And the winners of that event will get lab space from Akzo Nobel to develop their product further into reality and have a joint venture with Akzo Nobel. Now, the interesting thing that we also got here is that even the startups that didn't win, that weren't invited for this event, they sent emails to Akzo Nobel saying that this is the future of science, this is the future of chemistry, this is how we should work together. Because although we didn't win, we got in touch with this company and that startup, and now we can advance faster together. So that's really, I think, something that's going on now. Is because we are connected, it's global, we can really build those innovation ecosystems faster, but I think every company has to do that. You have to think about what do we do ourselves, who do we need to have in our ecosystem, and start developing that.
Yeah, and what is interesting in this case as well, that Akzo Nobel said that, okay, let's outsource the funding of with whom we should work together. But end of the day, they want to have innovation inside. They want to have an innovation lab. Everybody is opening up an innovation lab. The question is whether you have to really open up an innovation lab, or you have to make the space inside your organization, of course, physically as well. But how you going to manage the process? How you going to filter who is relevant to you or not? And this is basically a platform or something else, or even outsiders can help you out. And this case shows it really well, that they didn't invented an incubation program. They didn't start an incubation hub. They didn't start acting as a VC. They said that like we want innovation to come from outside and to be integrated in our next generation product. Just like.
Well, that's maybe because I think we try to keep it short because we're a barrier between sitting here and drinks. And it's Friday evening, so don't make it too long. Now, I know where your drinks end up. And this is about innovation, a small example of how innovation even affects very mundane things. In the Netherlands, one of the facilities companies that cleans buildings, so this is a company that it cleans buildings, it does security of buildings, so facilities company, they do experiments with IoT, Internet of Things. They connected toilets to the internet. Now, why do they do that? Well, it's very interesting. The first step, if you have a big building, typical now, without Internet of Things, if you want to clean the toilets, the cleaning team starts maybe at the top floor and goes down one, goes down, goes down, goes down. But maybe the most dirty toilets are on the third floor. And they are even dirtier when they arrive there. So the first step that they're looking at now is making that demand dependent. So just start doing the most dirty toilets. Yeah, it makes it better experience for everyone. It's as expensive as it used to be, but it's a better experience for the users of this building. And even more, now they are even cleaning toilets that haven't been used because they don't know whether it has been used. So the first step is, and this is a simple impact of IoT on these kind of business processes. It changes the entire business process around. Now the second step is having a different business model. Because what they're going to do, they're going to offer owners of buildings different service levels. You could get your toilets cleaned after 5 times being used, or you could get them cleaned after 10 times being used. There will be a different price for that. Yeah, so even in these simple, very ordinary stuff, technology has a very big impact. And that's because we had already a big impact in IT, in digital. But what happens now through IoT and through 3D printing, the physical world and the digital world get connected. And that means that we get the same speed of innovation in all processes physical as we had in digital. And maybe also robots, of course, also connect digital and physical.
And not to mention that those kind of data, when you enter into a smart toilet, I don't want those smart toilets because I could imagine that for instance, in our company, when we are talking about having a new cleaning company, I'm pretty sure that we will choose the offer of cleaning the toilets after maybe 10 usage. I'm not sure. Okay. So anyway, but what I wanted to point out is that there will be so many things that you don't even see, that there are connected devices, such as a toilet, such as anything else. If you think about it, like how much digital footprint that you've been made 10 years ago and how much do you make today, even those ones that you don't see, like you are entering into a shop of, for instance, I don't know, Marks & Spencer, and you see a blue shirt, which is good, but oh my gosh, I have to run. Then you go home, open up your Facebook, and bam, the second advertisement over there is that blue shirt, exactly what you have seen in Marks & Spencer, and for you, it's 25% discount on that one. And you're going to buy it. Of course you're going to buy it, because you have liked it in the store. But you have no idea how they retarget it back to you. And does Facebook will care about GDPR and all of those things? Yep, might be, but I'm not sure. So there will be so many things that you are creating by yourself. There will be so many others that you are not creating, but it all enters into somewhere else. I mean, into a data lake, let's put it that way. And then, for instance, banks and digitalization of the banks will, like, together with the fintech startups or by themselves, can really change the way you are thinking about a bank right now. Bank is because of you have to have your money and from bank accounts from somewhere. Maybe they are offering some services to you, but later on, they will be helping you out by just like typing a message into Messenger. I mean, in Messenger 2.0 just started the applications integration. So I think it's not so far, or already it's existing, that you just type in that, hey, next weekend I want to go to London with my friend. So then it's already sent. What will happen in the back is that it will contact with my friends, whether it checks or with him, or if it's good or not. If it's good, it's confirmed. Then it buys my airplane ticket, pays out from my bank account, checks me in, and then tells me that, like, okay, this is the time when I have to go to the airport. That's it. I'm checked in already, and bam, there you go. Okay. The example, right?
Yeah, well,
because of the data. And data,
yes,
data
the big
analytics.
data. So there's a lot of data. And we have another case that uses a lot of data in America. And I'm not sure, Zsolt, whether it starts automatically. Yes, it does.
I did a good job. What do you think?
My focus is on the game. It's a fantastic game, but there's aspects that I believe we can improve. Let me begin with scheduling.
They had the most back-to-backs in the league this year with 23.
They're in the midst of a brutal road trip, but they've been up and down throughout the season.
We have an incredibly grueling sport. Players play 82 games over the course of roughly 6 months, and they're constantly traveling from city to city to play those games.
There's nothing more important than the health and welfare of our players, and ultimately we want to see players getting appropriate rest and playing at the highest level.
The entire business of the league starts with the schedule. The schedule touches every part of what everyone in the league and the teams and their communities and their arenas and their fans focuses on. It's a lot of responsibility.
We had a meeting a few years ago, and what came to mind was the idea of transitioning from a manual approach to the schedule to a computer automated approach.
I thought this was a standard technology solution that could be purchased and solved with off-the-shelf software. And after digging in and really doing some research and speaking with some experts in the field, we recognized that this was something where we needed some assistance from a firm like KPMG.
If you just think about, all right, I'm a team, I've got 170 days where I could play a game, and I've got 82, even the number of ways you can decide, all right, play, rest, play, rest, play, rest, whatever. There's more possibilities for that than there are grains of sand on a beach. It's shocking in a way.
We came across this concept called constraint-based optimization. And the idea behind it is that you can feed into a computer system all the things you want to achieve or avoid in any given schedule. And then you can assign relative penalty values to each of those things. The way this played out was we actually devised a test problem as part of our RFP process. And we said to each of the respondents, we'd like you to take our 2014-15 schedule and improve upon it. And KPMG's score came in close to 0.
Take a look there. We can also then go in and look at other choices like structural density. So where are we seeing back-to-back?
What was most unique about KPMG was their analytical solution to the problems.
You want a person and a machine to work together to solve the problem together. So it's a lot of working as a team, collaborating between the mathematicians, the designers, the developers, the teams at the NBA. There was no us and them. We were working as a team because at the end of the day, we all, in a way, became obsessed with it. How low can we get this score, and how much better can we do than what's been done for the past 30 years?
When looking at the overall solution, there's really two components to it. The optimization engine that does the heavy lifting, but then there's also the user interface that our internal business units have to work with. And really the ease of use, the intuitiveness, and the elegance of it really was accomplished by KPMG.
In year one only, we've been able to improve on the most important metrics to the league, which are the player health and wellness metrics. And we think there's even further room for improvement. We're really just getting our feet wet with this system.
You start to think about how many dimensions there are to the NBA scheduling problem, and you know, as a mathematician, I'm thinking, well, geez, what other problems out there that are rich like this? There's so many other opportunities out there like that.
I think in my opinion, this particular example showcased two things. One, KPMG and NBA work together. That's what you saw over there. But mainly what I wanted to point out is that we do have solutions. We do have people who understands how data and analytics works, but we don't want to push the solutions towards our clients. And what's, I think it was in the video as well, that like we went out, understands the problem, work shoulder to shoulder with the clients. I can say that like all of these kind of, I don't know, sexy methodologies that we are using, like service design, design thinking, whatsoever, blah, 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 blah. Innovation Factory, of course. But instead of that, just like another example. One of the media companies reach out to us. And then what was the problem is that right now they're having financial systems, they have lots of other systems, but they want to have a solution. They didn't name it out, of course they didn't figure it out, that they need a customized ERP solutions, which is basically goes from the financial till the programming, till the scheduling, and till the, how it's called, the Chiazzo, that's actually plays the live TV stream. So what a service design company can do is they can do and design the flows. They can design how it should look alike. What they can do is that they cannot really program it. So then an IT company comes in, programs it, and then somebody will come in and integrates it. And I think what we have in capabilities, as we worked for so many years with companies like big media companies or any kind of other companies, that we can end-to-end take cover of this process. And this is basically our advantage with all of these examples. And all of these examples are generating our solution or getting our solution better and better. So yeah, this was one example, but maybe you want to add another one?
No, I don't think, because I think you've been sitting here for time, and maybe it's better to open up the bar and have a chat with you.
So then let's talk.
Thank you for your attention, and thank you for inviting me over.
Thank you, Han, for coming.
And let's have a drink and chat.
Thank you very much,
Or
guys,
maybe
for coming
any
on.
questions now?
Yeah. Open up for questions, right? But they don't have.
No.
They usually don't have.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So from your experience of working with clients, let's say over the last 3 to 5 years, how has that relationship changed? Because I think one of the big things that came out there is that previously large organizations tended to try and do it all themselves. And now I think not only are they looking to partner more, but actually the software as a service model, the startup engagement model seems really different now. I'm just interested to get your experience on that.
Yes, and well, what we experience ourselves is a lot more work that they totally outsource, even for a results-based fee. Like the ExxonMobil project, we get paid per relevant startup that we find. We get a payment per joint venture that they sign with a startup, etc. So it's not even doing that themselves. And what I like really much about working on a results-based fee is that you have to be very precise before you start. What do I expect from you and what do you expect from me? Because then we can write down what we expect from each other, and then we can see whether we achieve a good. And in the old model, where we sell hours, you could say it's better if we don't know exactly what you want, because then we can sell extra hours later on. And that changes the business. It definitely changes the business. It changes everything around, because if I do a project for a fixed fee, for example, I try to automate as much as possible, because I want to do as least hours as possible. In the traditional model, we want to do as much hours. So it helps the client, and especially in areas where they don't feel comfortable, they want to do it results-based or partly results-based. Yeah, that's changing, definitely. Yeah.
And another change maybe is that if you can remember back at the end of the opening video, there's a cross-industry problem. Sure. They maybe can be really good at the industry that they are working on right now, but thinking about the future of them industry, which will be not the same one, it will be collaborated with other industries. Then we can came in, maybe solution as a service, maybe the version of what Han was explaining. So yeah, it's changing our businesses too, definitely. When you think about audit, we have our digital audit centers already, which is pushed out to clients, which is a totally digitized way. So we have to be ready. We have to change ourselves as well, while we are trying to shape our customers for future as well.
So we also have to innovate, basically. It's good. Well, that might be a nice ending statement, huh? Everybody has to change, but first, let's have a drink and chat further. Thank you.
Then everybody could change with a drink. Thank you very much.